On Saturday, November 2nd, starting at noon, Kevin Williams is helping sick kids by playing video games. He needs your help to raise $1,000 for the CHIO Foundation. Donate at extra-life.org/participants/347875. The following podcast may contain immature content created by Danny Parkhill and Michael Walsh. Listener discretion is strongly advised. What would happen if, like, you had THC and then you got the itis at the same time? Like, would you even wake up?
Oh, I got the itis, but I'm so high.
Like, would you even wake up?
Well, hold on though. Well, wouldn't it balance itself out? Because the itis means that you're super full and you're logy and you take a nap that way. Usually when you're high, you're munchy. So would you not just like explode from food intake?
Maybe, because if you're hungry, you're like, I just want some more. Give me some more of them ribs, and then you get the itis again.
Yeah, so. Exactly. And you just be in an endless loop.
So I just got back from getting a massage.
Yeah.
It was with what's that, CBD oil?
Ah, there we are. Now we're talking, buddy. Look at you.
I got
a little stoner.
It doesn't get you high. It's the non-hallucinogenic ingredient.
I'm aware. I'm not on it right now, but I have taken it before.
Well, hold on. Gotta mark this down here. 31 seconds in. Okay.
What?
Well, every time you curse in the first half hour, I'm going to bring this whole podcast to a screeching halt so that I can mark it down.
What did I say? Did I say the F word? Already?
Yeah, you did, and you said the S word already too.
I'm used to being with Mike. Where
what at what point does it become so nonchalant that you don't even realize you're saying it?
I don't know. Like, what do you want from me? What do you want from me?
You know what you are? Do you remember?
This is how we roll on The Lasting Mark. You're my guest, not the other way around. Don't forget that.
Do you remember that cartoon, Tiny Toon Adventures?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know that there's a chicken on there named Foulmouth? Yeah,
that's right.
I think that's you. Like, you curse so much that you don't actually realize that you're actually cursing anymore.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, you joke, but I mean, that's pretty close to accurate.
At least Foulmouth would stop whenever kids were around. That was like a whole storyline they did where they were trying to get him to stop cursing, so they would just bring a baby with them everywhere they went so that he would stop cursing. Here's
the deal, though. If kids are listening to this podcast, then you got bigger problems on your hands, because the warning literally says, hey, morons. If you're 17 and under, you see, that's my way of using the F word without actually using the F word, because I know you're going to be about it. You're going to be all...
Well, now, hold on.
Yeah, there we are. 2 minutes and 9 seconds.
Stop the podcast. We got to get it marked down. Okay.
Anyway, you were saying you went and did the CBD oil massage. Are your joints all
there we go. Okay, hold on. Wait. We got to stop the podcast. Wait. All right. Okay, go ahead.
Are your joints all loosey goosey?
I feel a little loosey goosey. Yeah, it was just the back and neck tonight, but you know, it made me feel nice and relaxed. I'm coming in calm for this podcast, which is probably a good thing, because if I was Danny Parkhill, I probably would be a lot more tense and stressed out. But I'm not Danny Parkhill.
Well, I am not Adam Contant, because if I was, I'd be high as a kite right now.
Which I'm not. I swear. Look, you can't even say that because I've got the munchies all the time. Look at me.
Here's the deal. Like, weed is legal now here in Canadia, so you can't, like, I mean, it's just like alcohol. I mean, I'm drinking a beer right now.
I love it that you called it Canadia, by the way. Thank you for that. If you're Canadian, you're from Canadia.
You're from Canadia, that's right. But no, it's legal around these parts, so I mean, it's no different than drinking a nice cold Rolling Rock lager like I am right now. It's no different, right? I mean, you do you, boo. Is all I'm trying to say. There's no shame In token, I'm not a big guy myself on that, but I mean, you know what? You do you, man. And, you know, CBD oil helps with the joints, helps with the soul, man.
I wouldn't feel ashamed about partaking in some recreations. Although I will say this, I don't think that I could smoke. I'm not a smoker, but edibles, obviously you put something in a cookie and I'm down with it no matter what it is.
They got these Big Chewy pretzels for $5. No, but they got these get out of here. They got these soft gels that you can buy now. It's like it's in pill form. And you can get it you know, either CBD heavy or THC heavy, THC being, you know, what gets you high. And you can take it that way.
So you're telling me that we literally have weed pills?
Yes, that is precisely what I'm telling you.
All those years of making fun of people who say that, and turns out it's actually a thing. How about that?
There you go. Well, I mean, everything weed is a thing right now. Weed edibles, weed gummy bears. Yeah.
What won't they think of next?
Yeah, really. Frig. Whatever.
They need to make weed pulled pork, and I'm there.
Oh, dude, are you kidding me? I'd be down 1,000,000%.
What would happen if, like, you had THC and then you got the itis at the same time? Like, would you even wake up?
Oh, I got the itis, but I'm so high.
Like, would you even wake up?
Well, hold on though. Well, wouldn't it balance itself out? Because the itis means that you're super full and you're logy and you take a nap that way. Usually when you're high, you're munchy. So would you not just like explode from food intake?
Maybe, because if you're hungry, you're like, I just want some more. Give me some more of them ribs. And then you get the itis again.
Yeah, exactly. And you just be in an endless loop. That's addiction right there. They need to take this shit off the
sleeping
streets.
And eating.
That's right. Sleeping and eating, and yeah, Jesus.
Sounds like my plan for retirement.
You forgot pooping.
Well,
eating, sleeping, and pooping.
I imagine by the time I retire, there'll be some sort of machine that takes care of that for me.
There is now. It's called an enema.
And that's what we want you to support over at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca. The Adams Enema Fund.
Shove it up your ass. Boy. If you can find a better enema, shove it up your ugly ass. You heard us right. How you doing, Shitmunch? I guess we should mention that, of course, Michael Walsh is not here. We are morons. By we, I mean myself and Michael, because I was literally at his house on Monday morning. We were doing nothing. We were sitting there while you were upstairs. I'm talking about you, Satchel Ass. You were upstairs editing last week's podcast.
Because it always takes me hours to do so.
Yeah, I know, exactly. So we're sitting there, you know, whatever, just hanging out, and we should have recorded a podcast. But now we've forgotten about it. Michael is a hard-working boy. He works like 12, 13-hour days, like today, tomorrow, like all throughout the weekend, and I'm not much better. So we were kind of forced to try to find a substitute. Nothing worked for anybody last night. Wait, I'm gonna belch. Oh, I almost puked. We couldn't find anybody last night, so Michael couldn't do it. So now I'm stuck with you again, and you're gonna like every 5 seconds give me, Daniel, you can't swear on this podcast. It's my podcast, you schmuck.
You do realize you just did it like less than 20 seconds ago, right?
Well, yeah, because I don't give a shit about what you think.
Oh my God!
I'ma do the things that I wanna do. Ain't got a thing to prove to you, Adam.
What song is that?
I'll eat my candy with the pork and beans. Excuse my manners if I make a scene.
Good thing my wife doesn't listen to this podcast, because she would be appalled that I didn't remember a Weezer song.
I ain't gonna wear the clothes that you buy. Yeah, so on and so forth.
Yeah, why do people wonder why I keep you guys around? I don't know, Danny.
Because we bring ratings, sir. God. Speaking of ratings, how would you rate the Impact pay-per-view that we were at the other night in Toronto on Sunday night? You like the segue I did there? Speaking of ratings, what's up? You see, I'm learning from you, Mark.
Okay, hold on. 8 minutes.
Yeah,
5 seconds.
Are you legit writing these down as we go?
Yes, because I have things to do with my wife this weekend, and if I want to spend some time with her, I'm going to have to know where all of these are so I can quickly go and erase them.
Oh, good. All right, I'll try to take it easy for the next 20 minutes. Okay.
All I'm asking for is half an hour out of your week. Okay. I don't care if you curse the rest of your week. All 23 and a half hours of your week, you can curse till the cows come home. Give me a half an hour every week.
I'll be good. I'll do my best to be good for the next 20 minutes. So let's talk some wrestling. We've been sitting around, for 10 minutes talking about my potty mouth and quoting Weezer songs. How did you like the Impact pay-per-view on Sunday?
That was phenomenal. I would probably grade it as about a 9.5 out of 10. It was so good.
That good?
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I mean, can you think of a bad match on the show?
Honestly, I wasn't a huge fan of Blanchard versus Gail Kim. It was okay. Well, you see, that's the thing. If I'm going to start saying it was okay, then, it wasn't bad, now was it? So
no, it wasn't. I mean, honestly, and the only reason I'm not giving it a full 10 out of 10 is because I still feel like they should have broadcast the live feed on the big screen. Other than that, I thought it was pretty close to a perfect pay-per-view. I loved it.
Being fair, that's not a television problem. That's a live crowd problem, right? Obviously, it came across a lot better on pay-per-view. And I mean, there were a couple. If we're gonna go,
I didn't watch it on TV though. I watched it live, so I'm giving you my thoughts from my experience.
Fair enough. Okay, well, if we're going on that route, whatever it is, there were a few spots that we missed. Being in the spot that we were. Well, now we did change spots a few times. You could hear about that more on I Was There. If you're a Patreon subscriber, I don't know when that's coming out, but hopefully,
it's already been released.
Oh, well then never mind. You see, it shows how much I pay attention. You can listen to that right now on, patreon.ca. Patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca. Oh man, I botched that.
It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, it's I can't win them all, right? I'm doing okay, but you can listen to that now for a small donation. A few, I'm gonna say it because get ready, get your pen ready. A few gets in the bucket. There you go.
Okay,
that one I had to do. I hope you understand. But yeah, we missed a few spots. Mainly Phoenix almost breaking his neck. That was a pretty major one.
Well, Gail Kim too. She got launched off of the stage too.
Yeah, well, that spot. We saw most of that spot though. We didn't see her land. See a bump. Well, yeah. No. But same with Brian Cage for that matter, because same kind of deal. They did something like that. Again, I think Spanish flies all over the place. I think Johnny Impact gave Brian Cage a Spanish fly off the stage onto the floor, which we missed because it was the opposite side of us. Gail Kim took some sort of weird bump from Tessa Blanchard. I forget what it was. And then Phoenix did a Spanish fly off the top of a ladder through a table on the stage, but again, he completely missed and nearly broke his toque. And that,
it was, but I mean, and that's what I mean. Like, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's really the only thing I could think of was like, oh, it would have been cool to see those spots, even if I was looking at the big screen to do it. But other than that, man, matches were solid. The action was great. I love those. Everyone put on their best foot forward. Brian Cage actually got hurt apparently in his match with Johnny Impact, and he was off the TV tapings, resting up, I'm assuming, at a Canadian hospital somewhere. So certainly hope that he ends up healing up pretty quickly. We got a lot of injuries to talk about actually in this episode. But first, while we're on the topic of Impact Wrestling, you've heard about their latest signee.
Which one? Michael Elgin?
Well, I wasn't talking about Michael Elgin, but we can talk about Michael Elgin. Yeah, what do you think about him signing on?
I mean, I'm cool with it. Elgin's a good worker, again, local to Toronto, and it looks like they're signing a whole lot of Canadian, Ontario local guys, which fine by me. It's probably a bit cheaper for them, and it gets these guys a lot of exposure. So, it kind of works out well for everybody. Good signing. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with him. And yeah, he's a very talented worker. So I think he's good.
Well, the other non-Canadian worker who got signed to a multi-year deal is Willie Mack, the former NWA national champion. That's pretty awesome. I'm a big fan of Willie Mack. I think he's a great talent, so I think this is an excellent get for Impact Wrestling. And in addition to that deal, Mack says he can still do independent shows, which is important to him because he loves to travel and work a lot of places. So great news if you're a Willie Mack fan. You got more places to see him.
You know, speaking, you say that Willie Mack is free to do independent shows. I wish there was an independent show near us where we could see Willie Mack.
Like a show, a promotion where like maybe he holds a television championship?
That not really what I'm talking about, but sure, yes, that too.
Are you? Well, I'm assuming you're talking about June 15th in Kingston, Ontario.
Yes, but what television championship?
He's the House of Hardcore TV champion.
Oh, is he? Oh, well.
He is.
Whoops.
Botch. And as we all know, House of Hardcore is co-presenting the Chinlock 5 event. So there's a very good possibility that he will show up and defend his title, maybe against Danny Franchise.
Yeah.
Danny Franchise will never get a championship.
In Danny Franchise's dreams.
That's great news.
Think that'll happen. Yeah, that is great news.
That's great news for Impact.
I'm a big Willie Mack fan. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what more to say about it, really. It's great for him. Good exposure, more money for him. It's good. It's good all around.
Hey, this is a commercial for patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca, where you can get early access to episodes of your favorite WrestleMedia shows, get full uncut and uncensored versions of your favorite shows, and more. Don't want to hear this commercial on your podcast anymore? Sign up at our main event tier and get these episodes ad-free. Want to hear your own commercial here instead of ours? We've got tiers for that too. Visit patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca and join the WrestleMedia revolution today. Now, we talked about Brian Cage, got injured at the Impact tapings. Man, another big accident happening in our neck of the woods, even closer to home for me, this past week as Robin Leckme, Psychosis, and Danny Duggan involved in a near-fatal car accident in an Ontario highway, literally just north of me. They were traveling from Sudbury down to my birthplace of Kirkland Lake. I was actually thinking about trying to go up to the show and spreading the WrestleMedia gospel up there, but I didn't end up making it, and neither did Duggan, Psychosis, and Leckme, who... Man, they were involved in a crash where the car got flipped upside down into a ditch, was completely totaled. They slipped on some ice, as we know is a real, very real threat if you're traveling the Canadian roads. Thank God they're all alive. Danny Duggan, he was in the hospital for a little bit, but I'm hearing he's okay. Psychosis and Robin apparently walked away with minor bruises and cuts. It's miraculous. I've seen pictures of the car turned over, and it's kind of crazy that they're alive. Danny almost died. He was actually drowning in a puddle of water, and Psychosis and Robin pulled him out and helped him. So man, oh man, that's, you hate to hear a story like that, but at the same time, what a story. What an incredible tale of survival. And thank God they're around to tell the tale.
Yeah, really. And then you don't think about that kind of thing in everyday life, right? You don't think about how many roads have we been down, over the past decade, more than a decade, where we've been driving down the highway, and I can't speak for you, but it's never been a thought in my mind, hey, in about 2 minutes, I'm going to get in a huge crash on the 401 and, have to get my life saved by a Lucha Libre legend.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If I was going to have my life saved by a Lucha Libre legend, I would want it to be Psychosis, or Juventus, one or the other.
Juventus, yep, super crazy. I'd be okay with. Yeah, La Parca. That'd be a good one.
Any of the Mexicools, really.
Yeah, but no, seriously though, obviously we're very glad everybody's okay, and that's a very serious thing to go through, and let's hope Danny Duggan recovers quickly, and everybody's back on the road in no time. I mean, we've had a couple accidents now in the Ontario indie scene. I think just even in the past few months. There's another accident involving, and I'm going to forget everybody involved, and I'm sorry about this, but Kevin Bennett, Puff, and there are two other guys I'm forgetting, and I'm the worst for it. But
the Buffalo guys from Buffalo, right?
Yeah, Buffalo guys. Yeah. And they were a couple of them were pretty seriously hurt in that one as well, and fortunately, I think they're all back and working now and back at it, as far as I know. But I mean, it's serious stuff. It doesn't happen often, and touch wood, it doesn't. But it's nothing fun. But I'm glad everybody's okay.
Well, one thing that isn't okay is Duggan's car. It's completely totaled. Oh, yeah. And if you'd like to help Danny out, actually, there is a GoFundMe that has been out to help raise money to get him a new car so that he can get to shows and get to wherever he needs to go. So we will post the link on our website, WrestleMedia.ca, for this episode. Go click on that link and give whatever you can. Every bit counts. They're over halfway to their goal, so we can do this. By the time you hear this episode, they may have already surpassed it, but you know what? Even if they have, go throw a few ducats in their bucket anyway, right? I mean, go help them out.
Someone tweet Chris Jericho, because he has donated to a whole bunch of wrestling related GoFundMes, including the aforementioned the Buffalo Boys Recovery Fund. He donated, I think, $5,000 to that. He donated a whole bunch of money to Kamala to save his house. There was a whole bunch of other stuff, like various indie guys looking to, I think there was like one indie guy. It's like, my house is on fire and I lost all my gear. And Jericho donated a bunch of money. Like, here, get some more gear, get back to making the towns, that kind of thing, right? So someone tweet him. He'll fix it. He's rich. He
also recently donated to superstar Billy Graham, who's asking for money for some hospital bills that he's been going on. So yeah, apparently if you need some money, apparently talk to Chris Jericho. He apparently is giving that stuff out like candy. And I mean, I'm just saying that in jest, but man, that's a generous, good Canadian boy, eh?
Yeah, really.
Like, helping out his buddies, So
yeah,
boy. For him.
Going out for a rip, bud.
Nice salute to, a good boy from Canadia, Chris Jericho.
Good boy from Canadia. Albertania, I'll have you know.
You guys are big fans of David Arquette.
Yes, we are.
And you're big fans of Luke Perry's son, Jungle Boy.
Yes, very much so.
Well, guess what? They're going to wrestle each other at Joey Ryan's bar wrestling promotion. They've announced the matchup for their It's Gonna Be May event, which should be
wept. What a great name. I love it.
That's coming up. Actually, by the time you hear this podcast, it may have already happened. Now, I didn't know this, but I didn't know that Arquette and his sister, Patricia, were friends with Luke Perry for a long, long time.
Well, yeah, Luke Perry and David Arquette were in, what movie was it? They were in a movie together, and then they appeared on each other's shows. Like, David Arquette had a couple guest starring roles on Beverly Hills 90210.
Get out of here. I didn't know that.
I think so, yeah. My wife is a religious fan, so I'll have to confirm with her, but there it is. And Luke Perry, I want to say he appeared on Friends a couple times, but I could be wrong. And, of course, David Arquette, showed up here and there on Friends, and, of course, being married to Kortney Cox. But, yeah, they were 100% in a movie together. I know that. I'm just forgetting what movie it was. It was, again, you're talking about two guys that in the early to mid 90s were relatively big names. Arquette more got so in the mid to late 90s with Scream and all that kind of thing. But, and of course the great, one of the greatest films of all time, Ready to Rumble. But,
yeah.
But, they were kind of brought up in the same era, right? So they know each other well. So that's part of why, and I've been calling for an Arquette versus Jungle Boy match for the longest time. It's like, why do they not do this? So I'm glad they are doing it.
Well, hopefully there's a way that you can watch it, either through Fight TV or another app, because it looks like a pretty good card, which I'm going to get to in a second. But in case you just need to know how close these guys were, Luke was by Arquette's side after his death match with Nick Gage that went wrong back in November. Perry was there with him, and I didn't know this, so clearly they were close friends.
And apparently Luke Perry was a huge wrestling fan. Like, he showed up. He showed up on Edge and Christian's podcast once. He showed up on their show too on the network, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I got to track it down. I forget which episode, but I mean, if you search it, I'm sure you'll find it. But I mean, he was apparently a really big wrestling fan, and you know, obviously watching it with his son, and that had an impact, obviously. So, and it's sad that he's gone, Luke Perry. He's a great actor and a great talent, and by all accounts, a great guy. So, yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, it certainly is, but it's going to be a kind of a nice moment to have those two get a chance to perform in honor of the late, great Luke Perry. That will be happening May 8th at the Bootleg Theater in Los Angeles. It's actually a pretty solid card they've got booked so far. P.P. Ray versus Heather Monroe and Jake Atlas is going to be on the card, as well as the Rock Ness Monsters and Watts and Ryan Taylor taking on Taya, Daga, and Los Luchas, some big 8-man tag matches. I got to tell you, though, one of the matches I'm looking most forward to on the card is Joey Ryan taking on Two Scoops, Casey Spinelli.
Nice.
You and I are both familiar with Spinelli. She is completely insane. And probably one of the toughest wrestlers I know, and that's male or female.
Yep. And
absolutely amazing. Such a great talent. I don't know why any company is sleeping on her right now. They need to sign her immediately. Yeah. I don't care who it is, but somebody's got to sign her to a long-term contract.
I know she worked a few shows for Impact, and I don't know what happened there, but you know, she kind of worked a couple shows. I think there's a match against Rosemary, I think, and I want to say one against Allie, and then there were a couple more, and for some reason that was it. And I'm like, man, they're effing up. Because she's got to get signed. She's an awesome talent, and you're more familiar with her than I am. I've only ever run into her a couple of times and seen her work a couple of times, but yeah, she's phenomenal. She's very good.
She's a great talent. I actually can't wait to see her and Ryan. I think they're going to have an absolutely fantastic match.
I think so too.
And while we're on the subject of companies signing talent, or in the reverse, talent trying to get signed by companies, did you hear about Darren Young's pitch to Brandy Rhodes that he made recently?
I did hear about this, and being honest, well, I mean, go you tell him about the pitch first, and then we'll give our opinions on it. But.
All right, so Darren Young recently spoke with Wrestling Incorporated managing editor Nick Hausman about his plan that he pitched to Brandy Rhodes to bring Darren Young into AEW. And he said, quote, "I've talked to Brandy. I've sent her ideas about teaming with Sonny Kiss. If no one has ever heard of Sonny Kiss, he's an incredible talent. And the story would be like, I'm the big brother, he's the little sister, you know? So no one messes with my little sister, Sonny Kiss. I think we could rock and roll in AEW as a team. Me making sure no one messes with him, me having his back, and him wowing the crowd with his athleticism, and me wowing the crowd with my ground and pound attack." So there's the pitch. Well, what do you think, Dan? Would you buy it?
Yes. Okay, how do I put this in a way that is not going to sound
okay.
Sorry. My bad.
No, that's fine.
We're almost there. 4 more minutes. We're almost there. I feel like putting those two together would not be a good fit, only because there is a lot of talk about not using labels on people, right? In AEW, right? Which is fantastic. You know, they're very inclusive about everybody and everything. It's right. AEW is for everybody, no matter if you're, you know, whatever, gay, straight, black, white, you know, male, female, transsexual, whatever. And that's absolutely fantastic. Darren Young is openly gay and everybody knows it. Sonny Kiss is openly gay and everybody knows it. So if you're trying to create again, I'm trying to think of, you know what I'm saying here? If you're trying to not use people's sexuality as a gimmick, then right. Why would you put the two people that are gay in the same tag team? You know what I mean?
I can see what you're saying.
And you know, it's, I get why I can hear people screaming at me right now saying, well, you know, whatever. And you know what? It's just the way that they're advertising themselves as all inclusive. They don't need to use, hey, we have a gay tag team as a hook, in my opinion, right? Again, look at Nyla Rose, for example. Nyla Rose was signed to AEW for, I think, 3 weeks before anybody's like, oh, by the way, she's transsexual. It's like, oh, well, I had no idea. Makes no difference to me, but now I know, right? I feel like having Darren Young and Sonny Kiss in the tag to be like, oh, those are the gay guys, and that's not the way you want to go, in my opinion.
I think that you've definitely got a point there. I would like to see Darren Young go to AEW though and get a shot with them because
for sure. Yeah, I have no problem with that. Yeah.
I think he's a good talent. And one of the things I think that, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on this. You tell me what you think, but I feel like one of the things that AEW, the current roster, is lacking is guys that are there to reinvent themselves. If you look at a roster like ECW, they had a real good mix of guys that were young, up and coming, and hungry, and they had a lot of guys that were there to reinvent themselves. ECW kind of earned a reputation as that kind of place. Ring of Honor kind of had that same rep for a while as well. And I feel like it's the one area where AEW is kind of lacking. They don't have a lot of guys there that are signed to contracts who are looking to reinvent themselves. And I feel like you could probably use that in AEW as a little calling card as well. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think, am I off on that? I mean, you have guys like Chris Daniels on the roster and you have guys like Chris Jericho, but I feel like they've already kind of reinvented themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think you're wrong. I agree with you in that you're right in that there are not a whole lot of people that are looking to reinvent themselves on the AEW's roster. But I don't think that's what they need right at this moment. I think a few months down the road, okay, you can bring in guys, but right now they're trying to establish themselves as, okay, here's some of the guys that you've seen before in Jericho and Daniels and Young Bucks and Cody. And then, you have some of the new guys. It's like, hey, you haven't, seen these guys like, again, I'm forgetting their names. No, not Top Talent, something like that. They're a new tag team that they're bringing in. All sorts of new names and faces. Here are these guys. They're, some of them are using the same gimmicks that they had on the indies. Some of them aren't, but here you are introducing new talent. And then once you establish those characters and once you establish those gimmicks, then you can bring in people saying, okay, now we have this group of people that we've established. Let's bring in whoever, lower mid-carders from TNA or WWE or whatever, and have them interact with the group of talent, the core group of talent that we've established already. You see what I mean by that?
I get what you're saying completely on that. So, I'll be interested to see where they end up going in the future if they end up bringing those in. To be honest with you, I feel like they've got a pretty big roster right now as is before we even think about adding any more talent. And let's face it, Double or Nothing is only a few weeks away by the time you're hearing this. I'd be very surprised if they added more talent on top of that. But then again, who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, you were just
now that said, and sorry to add one more point onto that, Dustin Rhodes is coming in, right? You want to talk about someone reinventing himself. To an extent, he's going to have to, because he's not going to be Goldust in AEW, right? So he's going to have to, it might be going back to, with a different gimmick or that kind of thing, but, to an extent, there'll be some reinvention there.
No, you got a point there for sure. I agree with you 100%.
That's why you
I think we need to wrap this up because I think you're getting a little cranky. I think you need to go down for a nap with your kids.
I do, actually. I'm tired. It's been a long day. I got a long day tomorrow. I want to play some Super Mario Brothers 3 and go to sleep.
Well, then I will let you get to that. Since I will not be playing Super Mario Brothers and going to sleep tonight, that means I'm not Danny Parkhill.
World 7 level 3 is I'm not Adam Contant.
And that's going to be the lasting mark this week. Thanks very much for listening. Please support us by sharing the podcast, visiting us over at WrestleMedia.ca, connecting with us via Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or if you want, put a few ducats in the bucket over at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca. In the meantime,
few in the bucket.
The outro is going to be used for both podcasts. So now, hold on. I gotta stop the podcast. Hold on now.
Okay, do it again. Do it again. You can cut this part out and then do...
No, we're done. We're moving on to hugs and kisses. That's it. That's it. Hugs and kisses.
Kisses. And Michael Walsh's opinions on Dean Ambrose.
Oh, my God.
This has been a presentation of WrestleMedia, where everything is wrestling and wrestling is everything.
Here's what you're missing out on right now over at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca.
So let me get this right. Lacey Evans is a ghost. Sonny caused the screw job. Okay.
Well, no, Lacey Evans isn't a ghost now because she beat Undertaker in the main event at WrestleMania. She's not a ghost anymore.
You're right. I'm sorry.
She was a ghost.
How foolish of me. Yes. Pardon me.
Want more? Sign up now at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca.